My name is Vanessa Ranquillo, actually, aka Vanessa Camille. My full name is Vanessa Camille Cedro Ranquillo. People know me as Vanessa Camille, and I am a plus size model, hair and makeup artist, food blogger. I also do fashion and beauty content creation, and I am a digital marketing SEO manager. And most importantly, I am a first generation Filipino American. I went to school for sociology. I also did business and diversity. And after college, I actually didn't know where I wanted to go. I knew when I went into college, I was like, I want to be successful, obviously. I thought I wanted to be a nurse, or maybe that's what my family wanted me to be. But I wasn't very good at the sciences or math, but I was good at, like, my people skills were really great. And I knew that I wanted to build relationships. And in the marketing world, I'm able to do that and I'm able to flourish. I think with business and sociology, it's kind of a beautiful combination to be in digital marketing because you really understand the trends, you really understand the science of people and what their habits are. And so marketing is just, felt natural, but it took a lot of failed career attempts to get to where I am in marketing. And I'm really happy that I'm in marketing because it actually contributes to every little thing I do in terms of modeling. But that's also part of marketing in terms of my food blog, content creation, everything kind of contributes to marketing. And being able to have experience in marketing makes me helps me become successful in the other realms that I do. What actually came first was, I would say, my makeup. So contour and blush came first, and then Seattle food scene, and then marketing. And in the meantime, the whole thread of the timeline of what I've done, I've always had a social presence. I actually started a YouTube channel 10 years ago that I was not active on anymore. I'm not active on anymore, but I've always had some kind of social presence and I've been consistent about it. And so I think in the background of me doing Seattle food scene and also doing like my makeup stuff and my day job, people and brands were starting to like recognize and pay attention. And I think because I'm like slowly growing organically, you kind of attract that, as you're like manifesting all of that good like juju, and people want to be part of that world. Like, I want to sign you. And I said no so many times. I said, I am not your standard body size. I am not the standard face. I'm not that. But then the more I said no, the more I realized, like, actually, I could be that for someone who would be like the younger self of me, who needed someone like that. When I was at UW, there would always be fashion shows, and they were always recruiting makeup artists and hair artists. And at that time, because I had, I was like, I have a poppin' YouTube channel. I do hair and makeup. People were looking at my YouTube channel. I had a video that had more than 24,000. And at that time, 24,000 views, that's a lot of views. There were always people who were recruiting for makeup and hair artists. So I volunteered. I had no experience. I volunteered. I had dabbled in makeup. And at that time, I was super self-conscious about like acne, and I don't know if it's hereditary, but like I had like significant acne and hyperpigmentation, and so I really wanted to figure out how to do my makeup well. And at that time, there was not a lot of makeup artists that were Filipino American or Asian American, and so the only ones that you could find were on YouTube. And so I would go on YouTube, I would publish what I had on YouTube, what I learned, my learnings on myself and reviews. And then people would ask me and request like, hey, can you do my makeup? And then that's how that came about. And I was like, okay, I'll do it on the side. And I consistently did it on the side. And then I created a business out of it. I was like, I'm going to get an LLC. I'm going to get a name brand. I'm going to get a website. And once I got my website, people took me seriously. They're like, oh yeah, you're legit. You have a website. And I'm like, okay. And this was back in like 2011. People, like if you have a website, you're a real company. So I would get hired, and it's been really consistent. With modeling, it was Instagram. It was really purely Instagram. And I only started modeling a year and a half ago. So Summer reached out a year and a half ago. It was like the height of my like social media presence. I had Ulta Beauty reach out and was like, can you be the Washington representative for Ulta Beauty? And I said, yes, because when opportunity comes knocking, I'm going to say yes. And it also, I don't know why, but SMG, the modeling agency that I work for, also reached out at the same time and was like, hey, would love for you to be a model. And it kind of started clicking like, oh, representation. Like there's not someone that looks like me right now in the media. And like I mentioned before, I really was against it because I'm, insecure at times about like just being plus size. At the same time, the cross of being Filipino and plus size, because majority of the time it's like, oh, you're petite, or or like, oh, you've gotten bigger. And like when you hear the auntie saying that and everything, you feel a little bit more self-conscious. So I didn't think I had that capability of being the representative of my people. But I thought about it again, and I was like, I've actually been plus size almost all my life. And I would really like, when I used to flip through magazines, I'm like, I wanted to see, someone who's, not only Filipino American, but even Asian American. It was like very rare to see anyone who was Asian American, Filipino American in media, in like mainstream media, that had like curves and was like happy and proud about their body. Because we've been told to like kind of hide away, kind of like, go in the shadows and not be as fabulous as we really are. And so it was my time to be like, yes, I will do this, because I think representation is more important than feeling like maybe, when you put yourself out there, you become more vulnerable than getting any hate or getting any vulnerability like that will break me down. I thought the positive outweighed the negative of being a model. Because in an industry that's so hyper focused on every little thing that might deem you to not be beautiful, it's very scary. So I put my whole self into it. I was like, yes, I'm going to be a model. I'm going to do this. And yeah, I honestly like have been on the grind, honestly. Like I work with several big companies. Like I've worked with Costco. I worked with Wazelle. I've even auditioned for like REI, Amazon, and all these other like, brands, Ulta Beauty. I had a national campaign that led me to every single Ulta Beauty store nationwide during the holiday campaign. And that was such a catalyst moment in my life where I'm like, I could dream big, because like it happened. If it happened to me, like I feel like I was invincible at that moment, like I could do anything I dreamed about. Yeah, because I mean, just thinking about, I was talking to my brother that like even our upbringing, like we grew up in Japan. We were told like my parents are immigrants and they were in the Navy, and so being able to come out from the Philippines and being able to like live in Japan for 10 years and then get here to the States, and it was just like opportunity on opportunity. And like every goal that I've had, I was able to like accomplish. Even if there were failures in between, I was able to actually touch and accomplish so far. So it's like always making new goals. But I just think like dream big, because why not? The world, I've been lucky and very fortunate to been able to actually achieve some of those goals in a big scale. And I don't know, sometimes I'm like, I must have saved like a whole village in my past life to have such a good life right now. But I think that if I could help someone in terms of representation, like feel like they can be beautiful, then I feel like work done, you know, like I'm satisfied with like what I've done in this world. I'm the oldest of three. So as being the oldest of three of immigrant parents, I think you're like the third parent at that point. So I had more of a say in like our lives, and my parents have been super supportive. I know in the beginning, if I was in part of the Navy or not part of like a nursing program, it was like, what, like you're not really doing the right thing, or you're not going to be like stable and successful. And so when I did pivot into so many different majors that wasn't nursing, I think there was like, you know, like a cause to pause, because the reason why I wanted to go UW, I wanted to do the ROTC program. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to do all of that combined in one go and be like, okay, I am going to be that golden child right now. It didn't happen the way I wanted it to. I realized that's not my strengths in my life. And over time, I think my parents just wanted me to like have a stable career, have a stable job. And in the span of like 10 years post college, I remember I've lost so many different, like not like lost, but I've jumped so many different career opportunities, and some of them were failed startups. And I think that gave them like kind of anxiety to be like, oh, maybe we didn't do what's best, you know, for you, or maybe we didn't push you hard enough. But then when I started working in the company I'm working now in the marketing, I've been there for 4+ years. I feel very great about that position. And I have been doing makeup for like 10 years now. I think they've seen little by little, like I've been able to survive through any of those hiccups or those bumps in the road. So now they're like, again, coming full circle, just making sure to support me in any way that I need, which is really beautiful to see. And I think also working with brands like, you know, Ulta Beauty and Costco, and, you know, they see that like, oh, my child's on, like they were proud parents. They went to Ulta Beauty. They took a photo next to my like semi billboard. And it was just like, I think they realized like, okay, she's doing something. She knows what she wants and she's going after it. And I think that like my mom, like to me, she's like has a lot of tough love, but I think that end of the day, like not towards me, like to her friends, she's like so proud. And I noticed that like kind of I mean, I was a reason why we moved here from Japan. I asked them, I told them, I said, I want to go to UW. I need to go to school in Washington. We were supposed to go to Europe. We were actually supposed to go to boarding school in London, but I really, again, being the third parent, I was really convincing to say like, hey, can we live in Washington State? Let's go stateside. Let me go to college, because I'm going to go to college in 2 years and I need to establish residency and actually like assimilate to like the culture and not just live in Japan. But don't get me wrong, Japan was a great childhood, felt safe. Everyone actually was Filipino American, to be honest. So it was kind of an interesting experience, because we were all living in a kind of community where everyone can relate to each other, which is kind of rare to see. And in that small community, everyone could be in varsity basketball, varsity football, or not football, but volleyball, be like the commanding officers of ROTC, do like the volunteer club, business club. You could be who you want to be. And like, there was no idea. Well, as a Filipino American, there was not really any like discrimination against Filipino Americans, because everyone was Filipino American. So it was kind of weird, because we were the majority. So I moved to the States when I was 16. Didn't have any friends. People already had their cliques. Didn't know really anybody, but I knew that I needed to get involved. So I became a leader in every single club that I joined. And I realized I'm like, okay, I did that. I can do that, even in a place that I knew nobody. It really transformed me as a person to realize like, oh, I'm capable of much more than like anyone would like imagine, or even me like imagine to be. Like to be on the real. I think like my grandpa said that, we wouldn't suffer if we can work hard. Or like if you're not afraid to work hard, then you're not going to you'll be able to find a job. And I think that like my family in the Philippines, like we don't have like the opportunities that we have. Like my dad's brothers all tried to join the Navy and couldn't. And so like my dad's very intelligent, and I think because his dad was also really hardworking, but didn't have that same opportunities, right? My dad was able to like, go through the rigorous trainings and the rigorous like ability to like, I think it was like a class of 100, and it's like only the top 10 was able to join the Navy. And so it was a rigorous selection process to join the Navy. And I know my mom, her goal, her whole life, my mom is probably the most ambitious person I know. She pushes my dad to be even more ambitious. But my dad's hardworking, so them together is like, I think that we get both of their characteristics in a different way. So when my mom was younger, she would save her money. She's not like, when she was younger, she loved designer stuff because her dad actually worked from at Bering, and like would be able to like send home like US products, and like they were able to like wear polo and whatnot. And then her family went through like financial turmoil like in the Philippines, and then she like, because she was responsible, she saved money and she was able to get herself out of that situation. But her goal ever since she was a child was to go to the States. And so she definitely was like, I'm going to find a person who is dreams big like me and who works hard to get to their goals. And in comes my dad, who, very smart. He already had like his career going. He even had a choice between Australia or US. And so, and like out of all of his brothers, he was the only one to make the cut to the US Navy. And so, he is like, they've helped our families in the Philippines. And I think that's what contributed to the character of like we're not afraid of hard work, because historically that's what's been able to get us to the next level in our lives. And I think it definitely stems from family more than anything, and like the journey that our family and our parents had to go through.